Weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 44, tonight cloudy with a low around 38, and Thursday partly sunny with a high near 50. Enjoy authentic Chinese favorites at the Great Wall Restaurant. From hot and sour soup to sesame chicken and even their delicious Peking duck, you'll find it at the Great Wall Restaurant. Visit them at 4515 France Avenue to experience their full selection and learn more at greatwallrestaurant.us. That's greatwallrestaurant.us.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Broadcasting from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk. Welcome to The Gailey Show, the only daily LGBTQ radio news and talk show in the United States. And no matter where you are in America, West Hollywood, North Dakota, whether you've come out or haven't yet, if you're part of the queer community or just a family member of, friend, ally, we got you. I'm your host, John Parker. My executive producer, Jim Pounds, is here with me in the studio today.
Hey, all.
If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, give us a like, leave a comment if you like what we are doing here at The Gailey Show. All right, what is on the show today? Well, Chicago Journalist of the Year for 2025 and managing editor of Windy City Times, Jake Wittich, is back. He joins us bi-weekly on Wednesdays with new reporting from the LGBTQ community and the Chicago region. So we're going to see him at the bottom of the hour. It is the beginning of the holiday season with Thanksgiving next week. And if you're struggling with your queer identity, the holidays can be extra rough. So we're going to take some time to talk about what can you do during the holiday season to be kind to yourself. So we're going to talk about that later on in the show. But up first, the Epstein Files. What happens now that Congress has voted to release them? And folks may be wondering, like, why is the Gailey Show covering the Epstein Files? Well, there's just a lot of news value to it because we're literally on the precipice of some folks feeling like major political figures are going to go down. And we are very interested in that here at the Gailey Show. But also, since I've been a kid, I've been called a pedophile. So I find it really interesting that we have a president may or may not have been covering up for an actual pedophile sex trafficking ring where other Republicans and MAGA folks may also be involved. And hey, there may be some straight Democrats and liberals too. Like, I want to find the actual pedophiles as opposed to constantly being called one myself.
Right.
So,
right.
And now, now that the Congress has voted overwhelmingly, so literally in Congress, only one person between the House and the Senate voted against this. So it's off to, his signature. And now MAGA feels like they've got all the evidence to prove that the Democrats, especially the Clintons, are the pedophiles, and they're going to have all the justification to put them all in jail. And the Democrats feel like they're about to get all the evidence they need to get rid of Donald Trump. And MAGA is going to ignore anything that hurts their folks. I mean, just look at what Megyn Kelly already is doing, making the horrifying distinction between preying on 15-year-olds versus 8-year-olds. Like, girl, please, like, go away.
Yeah.
And in that and then the Democrats are actually, and I agree with this, like, it doesn't matter the political affiliation of who is in there, Democrat, liberal, progressive, MAGA. We want to find them, and if they're named in those documents, they should be investigated. Now, what is the bill supposed to? Because I was like, okay, today I was trying to dive into like, okay, what exactly does the bill compel the Department of Justice to do? Like, what is the strategy here? Has Trump found a loophole? I think he has. So, per AP News, the reporting is that Attorney General Pam Bondi is now required, once he signs the bill, makes it into law, to release everything that the Justice Department has collected over the multiple federal investigations. So not just one of them, all of them,
Right.
As well as anything related to Ghislaine Maxwell, his, co-conspirator who is now apparently in Texas getting the concierge treatment since Trump sent his personal lawyer to interview her and was like, oh, yay, she's apparently going to be on my side. I don't know. That's the speculation, because after that interview, she was moved from maximum security prison to a really light prison where apparently she's getting to talk to people that not even the wardens and the prison officials know that she is talking to. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think we can conclude this administration has been very good for pedophiles. I mean, generally speaking, the situation is certainly better for them, I would say.
They nominated one to be the Attorney General of the United States, Matt Gaetz. Okay?
Right.
Trump nominated a pedophile.
They've been very good to the
So
pedophile
that was
community.
literally, folks were finally, they were like, okay, this is a line, folks. We can't have a pedophile be the Attorney General.
Not one more
of the United
pedophile in
States.
this administration.
Right. Okay. So the bill also, soon to be law, also will compel the Justice Department, according to AP News, to produce all of the internal communications on Epstein and his associates and his 2019 death in a Manhattan jail cell. So all of that is supposed to be coming out here per AP News reporting.
Right.
However, there's a loophole. And I think this may be why we saw Trump change his tune. And I believe that Matt McNeil was also talking about this a couple of days ago.
Yep.
So the BBC, I'm relying here on some BBC reporting because they talked to Jonathan Enton, who is a constitutional law professor at Case Western Reserve University in Ohio. And he said that the Attorney General, per this soon-to-be law, can withhold or redact portions of records that contain personal information that would be considered an unwarranted invasion of personal privacy. Well, if you're trying to protect the president, that would also fall in there. But they can also, and this is in the text of the soon-to-be law, the Justice Department can keep any document that threatens an active federal investigation or ongoing prosecution. So this is the loophole that I believe Trump is now using, and why he changed his tune over the weekend and said, well, we're going to prosecute the Clintons and we're going to prosecute the George Soros. And I know it was the Clintons. I don't know the other folks that were named right in that. But if they can say that they are running active investigations into particular people, then they can also withhold a bunch of documents and not release those to the public.
It's the idea that the only thing that matters are the Democratic pedophiles, not the Republican pedophiles, which, I think the American public, not the brightest bulb in the box, but I think they will even say, I think all the pedophiles are bad, aren't they, dear leader? And I think eventually it becomes so precious and so warped. It's already feeling that way now, where nobody takes this moron seriously, or the people working for him seriously. There's a lot of people working very hard to try to do that, but it's making all of us throw up in our mouths, whether we're Republicans or Democrats. And that's a good sign, because people are starting to have a conscience problem with supporting somebody that says, yeah, let's get just the Democratic pedophiles. That sounds worse than what we're saying, which is, how about we get all the pedophiles? How about that?
But let's
raise our standards a little bit.
Yes, I agree with you. But this law is setting them up to still retain documents, and they are now legally empowered through it to say, well, I can't release those to you. Speaking for Pam Bondi, I cannot release these documents because this is an invasion of privacy, or I can't release these documents because it's related to an active investigation. And if I just start investigations, then I don't have to release those files to you. So I think that this idea that we're all suddenly having and being sort of, thank you, BBC, for reporting on this. I think we need to immediately set our expectations here that we are not getting the Epstein files. We are going to get what the Justice Department feels
the corrupt Justice
they can give out, and they're going to do it on their own time. They're going to slow walk this. Let's get ready for that. They're going to slow walk it. but they're also just going to start saying, well, this is an invasion of privacy, so we can't release this. And we just started this investigation into Bill Clinton, so we need to keep all these boxes of files over here. And oops, there's some stuff about Trump in there, but investigation, so you can't touch it. We don't have to release it to you. So, I'm going to be very curious to see what Representative Massey does with that. I'm going to be very curious to see what Representative Taylor Greene is going to do with that. I still cannot get over that I saw a video of her on CNN apologizing for her role in the toxicity of politics and her call to put down the knives, and she's going to do it as well. And she regrets things that she's done and said. And I'm like, what bizarro world did I fall into that I'm hearing that from Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene? Like, this is a person who literally trailed the survivors of the Parkland shooting high school. She was chasing around teenagers.
Right. I think that's the definition of a soulless ghoul, I think is what you're trying to say. But, if she's talking to book publishers and they're saying, look, you got to change you are so toxic and hated, you'll have trouble selling books. And so she's
pivoting
for selfish reasons.
Senate race or governor race.
Right.
I think she's looking beyond Congress at this point. She's looking to set up for that.
Right.
That's being the cynical thing here. I am also, I'm sorry. I am going to be cynical here, and I understand. This is a win, 100% win for the survivors. We've got a law now to get the files released, to get justice. This is a win for survivors who have been rebuffed and ignored for decades now. Apparently, I didn't know this. I saw this on MS Now yesterday, that the first survivor and informant was in the 90s. Okay.
Yes.
But I am going to be cynical here and say I don't need the legislators now on the Hill of both parties to suddenly say this is about the survivors. Like, I'm sorry, Democrats are here because they see a political weapon. And it may be also for the survivors as well.
Yes.
But there were 4 years of this when Biden was in office. And I know there were committees that were investigating this that were chaired by Democratic folks. But we are here now because of politics and polling. And I am glad that the survivors are finally getting their due because they needed this. And this was long overdue, and the system has failed them for decades.
They won't have.
But I need to hear a little less sanctimoniousness, frankly, from a lot of people.
They won't have their due until all the details are released.
Justice.
Not just saying.
Yeah.
But do all the files released.
All the files.
Yeah.
All right. That is our Epstein update for the day. You're listening to The Gaily Show on AM 950 Radio in Minneapolis and WCPT 820 in Chicago. More after this quick break.
The Thanksgiving Buffet is back at the Park Tavern. Thanksgiving Thursday, November 27th, from 11 to 3, the Park Tavern has its Thanksgiving Day Buffet. Enjoy the all-you-can-eat buffet with all your Thanksgiving favorites for $25.95 per person, $18.95 for 65 and over, and kids 6 to 12, and kids 5 and under are free, and that includes an hour of free bowling. Seatings begin at 11 a.m., and the last seatings are at 2 p.m., and you need reservations. Call 952-929-6810. On Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park. Giving thanks this Thanksgiving is simple with help from the Park Tavern.
Celebrate the Thanksgiving season at Ferndale Market's annual Turkey Fest, happening at their on-farm store in Cannon Falls from November 21st through the 26th. It's a beautiful drive from the Twin Cities. Reserve your fresh, never frozen Thanksgiving turkey for pickup at Turkey Fest. While you're there, enjoy delicious food samples and grab lunch from a food truck. Enjoy their family-run farm. Again, that's Turkey Fest, November 21st through the 26th at Ferndale Market in Cannon Falls. If you can't make it to Cannon Falls, don't worry. Use Ferndale Market's online locator to find out where you can get your 100% natural and delicious Ferndale turkey. Ferndale Market is a third-generation family farm that raises free-range, antibiotic-free turkeys. Their fresh Thanksgiving turkeys cook faster than frozen ones, giving you more time to enjoy the holiday with loved ones. Visit ferndalemarket.com for more details and to reserve your fresh turkey today. Make this Thanksgiving unforgettable with a farm fresh turkey from Ferndale Market.
We've all seen the effects of wood smoke pollution this year, so before hosting that backyard bonfire, follow these simple tips to protect yourself, others, and the environment. Remember to give your neighbors a heads up before building a fire so those who find wood smoke bothersome can close their windows. Make sure to never burn wet or recently cut wood, other yard waste, plastic, or garbage. These things can be toxic when burned and create excess smoke. For more tips on how to burn responsibly, visit epa.gov/burnwise.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat, is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity in styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. I am John Parker. We are coming up on the bottom of the hour. In studio with me is my executive producer, Jim Pounds. Next week is Thanksgiving, the start of the holiday season where we are joyfully or forced to be cramped into a small space with family. And for folks who may be struggling with their sexuality right now or their gender identity, I thought we'd take a segment to talk about how to navigate that for the holidays. I remember this very clearly from my many years, and I will even say in my 30s, I was visiting family in France, and like I'm just in the door, and my mom is telling me, "You better not come out to anybody because I have enough bleep to deal with." Right. So I understand how fraught these get-togethers can be when you're trying to figure out who you are, and then you may be surrounded by people who are spewing a lot of toxic hate. And a lot of that is going around because of what this, Trump administration is doing. And a lot of religious leaders are doing as well. So one thing I wanted to say to folks is, we always hear these stories about, kids coming home from college and coming out to mom and dad at the Thanksgiving table. Please do not feel like you are required to come out next week at Thanksgiving or at Christmas. You do this on your time when you are ready to do that. And there are some really great organizations like the Trevor Project where you can go to and just, particularly for younger folks, if you want to just talk with somebody anonymously about something, that is a great resource. But please don't feel like you have to come out next week to your family. Do that on your own time. It can be a lot having to digest the hatred that you may be hearing, the grossness that you may be hearing around the table. That trip that I was just telling you about, like I was in the living room and, hi, how are you? Da, 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 da. Like I live across an ocean. So, we're trying to, there's all this talk you can catch up with people on. And I end up sitting next to my great aunt who I haven't talked to in years. And literally within 90 seconds, she's going on about the state of France and how the gays have ruined everything in that country. And so now I'm sitting there, right, as literally a professional gay. This is before I got back into broadcasting. But I was working as a chief diversity officer, and I'm sitting there going, okay, how do I navigate this 80-year-old Armenian woman who clearly has political views about the gays And, you know, my mom, Armenian woman, telling me you better not come out because this is, you know, I'm going to blah. So you're navigating, right, these competing things, and having to sit there and listen to it is rough. And I would say, please give yourself permission to walk away from a conversation. You got to get your drink refilled. Got to go to the bathroom. Like, give yourself opportunities. You got to go check your phone. Tell someone you got to make a call, even though we really don't do calls anymore these days. We just do texting and whatever. But like, give yourself opportunities to get out of the space, just to give yourself that psychological break. There's also a boundary of time. Like, you don't have to necessarily be there for the entire thing. You know, you can say, I got work to do, or, and by thing, I mean the dinner, the Thanksgiving dinner, or the time that you have to be there. Like, find ways of leaving early or coming in late to minimize the amount of time that you have to be around anything that is toxic for you right now. And I would also say, like, give yourself opportunities through media. So books or TV shows or films where you can just kind of watch them on your laptop, watch them on your phone, watch them on your TV at home, read them. Just kind of give yourself the space, the grace to explore you and who you are. And, you know, there's a book written for every part of the coming out process, whether it's around gender identity or sexuality and all the different identities within the rainbow. And so if you're ever looking for a recommendation, like, send me a DM. Blue Sky happily will help send out recommendations of books or TV shows or films that you can watch. Even YA stuff. I think YA, young adult shows and books are some of the most special right now because it heals something of our younger selves. And that is something that I, you know, when I watched Heartstopper, you know, I'm an adult, but I loved Heartstopper because my, you know, 15-year-old self just so enjoyed watching that and seeing that. And that was healing, I think, for me. Jim, how about for you? Thoughts about navigating the holidays if you're struggling, and whether you're out or not out?
I think I'm a big advocate for people coming out, but obviously there are times when you have to be careful. If you're not safe, there are times when you have to hold your tongue when you don't want to. And but I believe as soon as you can find your independence, as soon as you can find your self-confidence or somebody to talk to, that coming out is really very healing. But I know there are family members that are just horribly toxic, and you know who they are. And so you just have to be, unfortunately, you have to have a third eye about yourself and your surroundings, and think vigorously about that and not do something impulsive. I'm an impulsive person. So I was sort of dragged out of the closet, and I'm glad I was, because it didn't allow me to second guess myself. I just dove off the high board into the pool, and then you're only backfilling at that point. So I'm not recommending that to anybody. I'm saying you're going to have to be rigorous in evaluating your situation and figuring out what you need to be safe. And no family relationship, in my opinion, is worth you being in harm's way. And, you know, there may be some future considerations, but look out for yourself. You don't owe anybody anything except your safety. That's my advice.
And we so often feel like we have to put up with it and what they're saying, or make accommodations or make excuses for what people are saying. And it's not okay. It's not okay what they're saying. And they're saying it without taking your feelings into consideration.
Right.
And that's something, give yourself grace to be considered, even if it's just you by yourself. Put yourself in spaces where also you can give yourself the space to be who you are. And you'll get there. You'll get there where you can finally get out of the house or get a job in a place, you know, like Minneapolis or Chicago, where, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in the city. You can in rural areas, there are networks and connections that you can make where you can be who you are and lessen the struggles that we have to deal with, because it's real. The struggles are going to be there. But, you know, that's why we're here on a daily basis. You can tune in, listen to us, or watch us, because we got you. We got you. We're going to have Jake Wittich, managing editor of Windy City Times, when we come back. You are listening to The Gaily Show.
This is Santita Jackson, Minneapolis, St. Paul. I couldn't be more excited about starting our days together, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8 a.m. Central, on the Progressive Voice of Minnesota.
All right, everybody in the car, let's go. What are we going to do?
Hello. Oh, I pressed. There we go. Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Sorry, I was just pulling up the article. So we could start there, then do Trans Day of Remembrance events, and then award ceremony.
Yeah, that sounds great. There was a press conference earlier this week that the mayor spoke at about Trans Day of whatever. I'm losing my words. I'll have them on the radio, but I'll talk about that too with the events. So.
Oh, good, great.
Yeah.
Okay, let's bring this back over here. You had questions in your email, and I will reply to them when we get off the air.
Yeah, you're all good.
Okay, cool.
You're going to do the award at the end. Talk about the award. Okay.
Save the best for last. All right, we got to switch back over to the feed. So everything sounds good on our end, and you can hear us. So we'll talk in a second.
Okay, cool.
Now is the time to step up and support Outfront Minnesota and LGBTQ rights here in our state. Outfront Minnesota needs your financial support today to strengthen LGBTQ protections at home, at school, and at the state capitol. Learn more and make your gift at outfront.org/give. That's outfront.org/give.
Hi, I'm Beth Thompson, owner of Big Hill Books in the charming Bryn Mawr neighborhood. Our customers call us the happiest bookstore in the Twin Cities because here, joy isn't an escape, it's resistance. You'll find bookshelves full of inspiration, 2 cats who think they run the place, and Gigi, our gentle shop dog. Visit us at 405 Penn Avenue South or online at bighillbooks.com, and be sure to say you heard about us on AM 950. We can't wait to meet you.
Guess who's back? That's right, it's me, the Grinch. Don't miss seeing me at Children's Theatre Company this holiday season. Can those Who's down in Whoville make me into a lover of Christmas joy? Doubtful! Yeah, but you'll have to come and see for yourselves. Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas is the perfect holiday treat for the whole family because of me. Yeah, the Who's are in it too. But you'll love it anyway. Tickets and showtimes at childrenstheatre.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with a high near 44. Tonight, cloudy with a low around 38. And Thursday, partly sunny with a high near 50. Enjoy authentic Chinese favorites at the Great Wall Restaurant. From hot and sour soup to sesame chicken and even their delicious Peking duck, you'll find it at the Great Wall Restaurant. Visit them at 4515 France Avenue to experience their full selection and learn more at greatwallrestaurant.us. That's greatwallrestaurant.us. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Coming to you from the studios of AM 950 KTNF, the progressive voice of Minnesota, and airing on WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk, where facts matter. Welcome back to The Gaily Show. It is 33 minutes after the hour. I'm John Parker. Executive producer Jim Pounds is here with me in the studio. Windy City Times has been the voice of Chicago's LGBTQ community since 1985. This year marks the news outlet's 40th anniversary of uplifting queer stories, reporting with pride, and chronicling LGBTQ plus history. You can visit windycitytimes.com/newsletters to sign up for the publication's excellent weekly LGBTQ news updates from a variety of topic areas. Jake Wittich is managing editor of Windy City Times, where he reports in-depth stories on Chicago's LGBTQ plus community and oversees that publication's growing newsletter operation. And the Chicago Journalists Association named him Journalist of the Year 2025. We're going to be talking about that ceremony later in the show. Jake joins us bi-weekly on Wednesdays. How you doing?
I'm good. It is so good to be back. I feel like it's been a while, but it hasn't. It's just been 2 weeks.
I know, right? It's just the nature of time these days. And okay, so scary news that Windy City Times was reporting. This came out just a few days ago about a plot against y'all's Pride Parade.
Yeah, so this is a little bit of a crazy one. Thankfully, nothing came of this, but basically it came out through indictments that there was a terrorist plot against the Chicago Pride Parade in 2024. There's 3 men up in Michigan who apparently were discussing this in the dark web on a terrorist chat room, and they were plotting to basically bring a bomb to the Pride Parade hidden in a backpack and attack the parade in that way. Through this investigation, it's come out that this was just one of many Pride celebrations that were potentially being targeted. So their chat messages say like, we're going to start with a few small actions and then we're going to build attention from there. So it's really alarming. Thankfully, we had law enforcement people who were on this, and actually in 2024, Chicago police, or no, in 2024, I do know the Department of Homeland Security, I think, put out a statement saying like there is heightened terrorist threats for LGBTQ plus Pride events all over the country. They didn't name any specifically, but it's pretty alarming to hear that Chicago was one of them that could have potentially been targeted.
So the group that, I mean, when we think of ISIS, we think of ISIS in Syria, we think of ISIS in the Middle East. So they were identifying themselves as the Islamic State of America?
Yeah. That's the name of the group of this dark web chat room that they were in. So I don't know how official it is. I'm no expert on this kind of topic, but it is pretty alarming. These were people up in Dearborn, Michigan. They are 19 years old. They were charged in the amended complaint with conspiring to provide material to support ISIS. So they've also been charged with having firearms that could be used to commit an act of terrorism on behalf of ISIS. And that's kind of the details I have. It's hard in these kinds of situations to get more details when there's an investigation going on or charges or anything like that. But it is pretty crazy. So
are they in prison now, or they've just been charged and they're out running around? Do we know?
I'm not sure. So I should note too, my colleague Andrew Davis, he's a former Windy City Times editor. He now has his own food column and still writes for Windy City Times. He did this story. I am just parroting it, so to say, but he did a great job. It's a big story, and people should know about it. So
do we, and we may not know this yet because the investigation is ongoing. I mean, there are a variety of, for lack of a better word, targets that they could, go after. Is there anything specific to like why they were targeting Pride events when there's so much?
I know, right? There's so many.
There's county fairs. There's, there's St. Patrick's Day parades. Like, was there something specific to the LGBTQ community that they were naming in there? Do we know?
I'm reading the release from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Michigan, and it doesn't really say anything about why specifically LGBTQ plus events. I do remember when the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security put out that alert in 2024, just warning of, potential, heightened risk, I guess. I'm trying to find the right words here, of terror at these Pride events. So it's pretty crazy just in hindsight. I don't know, every year I feel like we get warnings like that, or the police do their press conference, or they talk about all the safety measures they're taking. And that's such a routine thing to me that I take it for granted, I guess. So hearing this in hindsight, I'm like, maybe I should have taken that a little more seriously.
So was Pride Chicago alerted of this like before the event or during the event?
No, they actually had no clue until NBC News put out a story first, like last week. So That's when they learned. So yeah, they weren't alerted that they were one of the potential targets or anything, which I think that's a little strange. But they did put out a statement just kind of saying they're thankful for the law enforcement professionals who de-escalated this situation, and that they're aware that this concern is not unique to their parade, and that this threat exists anywhere at any kind of parade or public event, and especially in queer spaces. So,
but that makes me think, if they weren't even alerted, it makes me feel like it was a possibility, but not somehow coming together. Do you know what I'm saying? If they were able to tell,
right,
this is
like
an
maybe
imminent threat.
the extent was just this chat room where they were talking about it. Although one of the charges does say they had firearms, allegedly. So,
right. It just feels like there would be a legal sort of an obligation for Homeland Security to notify
right,
pride festivals where they're like, uh-oh, something's, I mean, I don't know. It's like a medium threat, not a red piping hot.
And ultimately, I think it just didn't materialize. I don't think it was like a plot that was thwarted by law enforcement or anything like that. I think they just didn't follow through, but they did plot it. So that's what their charges
hear about chatter. I remember them when there was always chatter about international terrorism. It's like they're hearing people talking about it, but but nothing came of it or something like that. I'm trying to make myself feel better.
I know. Yeah. So it's crazy. It's the sign of the times we live in. It's not even just international terrorism we worry about. We just worry about gun violence even within the United States. So,
right.
Yeah.
It's depressing how often I actually think about that now when I'm wandering around, like the Loring Park, and I'll find myself, there are times where I'm like, oh yeah, like this would be the place if they wanted to walk in. And it's awful that we think about that. Like when we were in Iceland for Pride, Reykjavik Pride this year, these are not things that they think about. You know what I mean? They don't think about, when they're organizing the largest festival in the world, about where they're going to place, not the world, in the country. A quarter of the country shows up to this thing, and they're not thinking about where are we placing the snipers on top of buildings.
No, right. I think it's really responsible to take stock of your location and sort of, and do I want to sit outside on this sidewalk, and be in a vulnerable spot? I think it's good to be wary. I mean, these days,
but the fact that we have to be,
I know, I'm sorry we have to be, but
yeah,
I'm glad we get notifications and that we have our antenna up. I think that's smart, that we don't wander around bad places by ourselves and ask for trouble. That we be smart, I think.
How has Pride Chicago responded to, now that they know that this was happening? Have they put out any type of statement?
Just the statement where they just said they're more resolved than ever to continue this mission. They understand this concern is not unique to the Chicago Pride Parade. It could happen at any public event.
Right.
But they also said, like, this is not Ron Thomas. He's the treasurer of Pride Chicago. He said, this will not deter me. If anything, it affirms our need to march.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Michigan where there were people driving around? Remember stalking gay bars? Was that Michigan also? There was a story about people driving around
a few weeks ago.
Yeah, a few
weeks. Oh, really?
Group.
Yeah,
I missed this one. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah,
I think they were, casing potential gay bars
targets.
The targets.
Wow. Yeah.
It's always so not detailed for a variety of reasons that you kind of go, oh, I don't know what to do about that. But
yeah,
it's scary, but it isn't very helpful or something.
Right. Yeah. Luckily, the Chicago police and the Chicago Pride Parade take a lot of precautions. Yeah. They have safety or like mile markers all throughout the parade. So if an emergency comes up, where you're at. You can easily talk to other people and let them know where you're at. So
that's good.
Yeah.
Well, we are talking with managing editor of Windy City Times, also the 2025 Chicago Journalist of the Year. Tomorrow is Transgender Day of Remembrance. And what is Chicago doing? What are the events that are going to be happening over there?
Yeah, well, Chicago has an incredibly vast, I would say, scene of transgender community here. We actually kicked it off.
for Chicago today.
Yeah, for those in Chicago, today, Thursday, is Transgender Day of Remembrance, but airing on AM 950. It is Wednesday, and the events are tomorrow. But we kicked off this week. There was a big press conference at the Center on Cottage Grove in accordance with Transgender Awareness Week, which then follows into Transgender Day of Remembrance. And our Chicago mayor was there, which was really awesome to have the mayor of our city talking about trans issues and his support for them. Alderman Lamont Robinson, he's a Black gay alderman on the South Side, which is where this community center is. He spoke there and he talked about not just transgender remembrance, but also trans resilience and like the examples we have in Chicago, like Shannon Lynn Parker, the new CEO of Equality Illinois, Precious Brady Davis, who is a water reclamation district commissioner. So those two women also spoke at this press conference. So it was really cool, a nice gathering, and awesome to have the mayor there. Like, so cool to have a mayor who takes this seriously. So,
I don't know that we would have that.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Would he come?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes. Fry has
That's
been
good.
very good about that. Mayor Fry
Good.
in Minneapolis has been very good about that. So,
Good.
yes. Yes, I want to give recognition.
Yep.
Yeah, and our mayor, he's done a lot. You know, he started a task force to look into trans femicide in Chicago. So they're working on that, and they're coming up with recommendations on how to treat violence against trans women or just trans people in general in the city. And it's going to be all encompassing, not just like your typical safety, violence prevention, but also looking at improving public health for trans people, because that can make them more susceptible to violence. So our mayor's done a lot. So that's how we kicked off the week. And then there's actually 6, probably more than 6, but I've got a list of 6 events going forward for the rest of the week to tie in with Transgender Day of Remembrance. It's really cool.
That's great.
Can you give us a couple of those? We have
I'll give a couple. I know we have to fit in a break at some point, but it's the morning. So Thursday morning, those in Chicago today, is Equality Illinois is hosting a press conference and a photo opportunity in Andersonville. They want to get as many community members together as possible for this, just to take a photo at the Rainbow Crosswalk there and talk about Transgender Day of Awareness. And this is notable because Shannon Lynn Parker is a Black trans woman. She's the new CEO of Equality Illinois. Her first official day was Monday. So I'm sure it's a big moment for her, you know, so really cool to see her have this public event right as she starts. So that's one of them.
Very cool.
Then later, Life is Work, which is a trans-led social services agency on the west side of Chicago, is hosting their own celebration of trans people. And they're going to have a panel discussion themed around remember, resist, and reimagine. So it's again, you know, we're remembering the lives we lost, but also how do we go forward and keep them with us. And then they're giving away some awards to community members who really stand up for the trans community. So those are 2 events. And they're going to be good.
In that break now.
Perfect.
That was perfect. You timed that perfectly. All right. We are going to have more with Jake Wittich, managing editor of Windy City Times, after a very quick break. Be sure to check out our GLAAD Media Award nominated podcast, This Queer Book Saved My Life, where I interview LGBTQ guests from across the rainbow about the queer books that had a life-saving impact for them and bring the authors in to join the conversation. You can stream that everywhere you get your podcasts or at thisqueerbook.com. More on the flip side of this quick break.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. November is here, so you're probably thinking 2 things right now. First is, man, where did this year go? And second is, oh no, I'm hosting Thanksgiving and my house is not ready at all. So you need to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to get things in order before your friends and family come over to celebrate. Every surface in your home can be Zero Resified, from hardwood, carpet, tile, rugs, upholstery, and more, so you don't have to worry about your friends and family plopping down on a nasty couch. Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google with over 21,000 reviews, so go ahead and get clean. And don't miss this month's deal. Get 3 rooms of carpet starting at just $139 and $50 off an air duct cleaning. You just need to call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and say you want the AM 950 special. Backward or forward spells the same. Zero Res.
Hi, this is Frank Brown of Minuteman Press Uptown with a question for our local leaders. How do you reward your employees? How do you appreciate your business partners? Thousands of local organizations just like yours count on Minuteman Uptown for promotional products. We craft custom awards and plaques. We print your logo on apparel, office supplies, and thousands of other items. Minuteman Uptown helps you reward employees and stay top of mind with customers and vendors. We print everything. Contact us today at mpuptown.com.
This December, Fortune's Pool Theater celebrates 20 years of creating theater in Minnesota with a free festival of Pirate Mayhem, featuring 2 irreverent R-rated musicals and repertory, Yar, the Lusty Busty Pirate Musical, and the world premiere, Have Yourself a Lusty Busty Xmas. 3 powerhouse women playing 20 roles, a live orchestra, hilarious songs, and sword fights. Join the Comic Madness December 5th to the 21st at the Hive Collaborative in St. Paul. Tickets are free as a gift to you. Reserve at fortunespooltheater.org.
In today's uncertain times, Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces believes that a fire can add comfort and security to your life. At Woodland, our mission is to connect you to a place for fire that works.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces installed our wood stove years ago, and we still love it. Watching the fire, feeling the heat, is a joy we experience every day. And knowing we have a reliable heat source makes us feel snug and safe.
There are many choices in wood, gas, or electric. For diversity in styles, at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, we display over 180 models, and 35 of these are burning displays. You can experience the glow and warmth of a live fire.
Whether wood, gas, or electric, find a fire that warms your heart, a fire that adds comfort and security to your life. See the many choices at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, located on the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis, and online at woodlandstoves.com.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces since 1977. For over 48 years, our slogan has been, out of the ordinary products and services. Our mission is to get you a fireplace that works in your life.
Welcome back to the Gailey Show. I'm John Parker. We're coming up on the top of the hour in studio with my executive producer, Jim Pounds. Jake Wittich is managing editor of Windy City Times, where he reports in-depth stories on Chicago's LGBTQ plus community and oversees the Windy City Times' growing newsletter operation. Jake has been sharing with us events that are happening for Transgender Week and Day of Remembrance, which is on Thursday, November 20th. I almost said November 1st. Where am I? When am I? So Jake, do you want to share with us a couple other events that are happening in Chicago?
Yeah, a couple other things happening on Thursday. The Hebrew Seminary is hosting a service with several other welcoming Jewish congregations for Transgender Day of Remembrance. I'm actually going to be at the Center on Halstead, where the Second City Sisters, which is our chapter of the Sisters for Perpetual Indulgence, I think is what it's called. They're hosting a speaking program and then a candlelight vigil. Their LGBTQ Bar Association's doing something. We have events all over, which is awesome to see. So
love it. Love it. Well, thank you for sharing that. Is there is that all collected on a page of your website?
It's going to be all over. Each event is going to have its own story. So just go to windycitytimes.com and they'll be posting throughout the weekend, I'm sure. So
perfect. Well, last Friday, I believe it was last
Friday, yeah.
Last Friday, there was a certain ceremony where someone got an award. Congratulations from the Chicago Journalists Association. How was it, Jake?
Thank you. It was an amazing night. I was so grateful. My family came, my mom was there, my stepdad, my sister, my brother was sick. My 2 best friends were there, my closest colleagues, Anna Deshawn, my past I was just surrounded by so much love. I gave a 10-minute speech that I literally practiced for 3 weeks and I knocked it out of the park. I was neurotic, but it was worth it. All that preparation, I really delivered and I just felt so seen and so appreciated. I got to reflect on what community journalism means to me, everything I've done this past year, how I got to this moment. I was actually so close to leaving journalism altogether 2 years ago. And then I took a pivot. I joined Windy City Times and suddenly everything is just clicking for me. So it was a great moment to stop, pause, reflect, and thank everybody who's been part of this journey.
I recommend that people listen to it on YouTube because it's a beautiful speech and you were so poised and you just seemed so kind of where you should be.
Thank
You
you.
know what I mean? It was really nice. I was very proud of you.
Yeah, it was really, thank you. And it was really cool because Curtis Lawrence, he is a retired journalist here in Chicago. He got the Lifetime Achievement Award last year. They asked him to give us a short speech to introduce me. And me and Curtis go way back. I went to Columbia College Chicago and he taught there. I never had him as a teacher, but our paths would cross. Then when I was working at the Chicago Sun-Times, he would work weekends as an editor there, and I always worked weekends. So I wrote some crazy stories with him as my editor, you know. And then I joined Block Club, and then he joined Block Club not long after as their investigative editor. So he's really seen me at every stage of my career. And yeah, he gave me just the kindest introduction. I actually was fighting back tears as I went up there. And I was like, I can't cry. Like, I rehearsed this so much. I cannot cry.
Right. It was great. I even said to John, I'm like, that's our boy. And I know that's probably diminishing you.
No.
And I don't mean to, but I very, very proud.
Yeah. And I got to shout out the Gailey Show. I was talking about all the partnerships we built this last year. So that was awesome to shout you all out. That's been a big part of this year. So
I know you had to mention the Ohio one, but we were first. So I think that was all I cared. But what a nice.
We love Ken.
I know you had him on your show.
I know. He's our Ken is very graciously, when I'm in a bind and someone cancels on me at the last minute, he's like, just reach out, I'll come and help. He's a former radio guy himself.
Exactly. So
but it shows the power of regionalism to me. I feel like we're demonstrating, we're living how we all have to kind of collect beyond our individual communities, where there is a regional importance to stand up against what we're standing up against. So I think we're demonstrating it, and I love that.
Exactly. And a rising tide really lifts all ships. Like, I went into this industry with one attitude, thinking I had to be competitive and cutthroat. And over the years, I've softened a lot and realized it's all about building community and collaborating. And I think that attitude, the community building and the collaboration, is a big part of why I got this award. So it's the community behind me that helped me get here.
Well, and I also feel like the local is national these days, and you're at an epicenter city right now, target of what is, target of a fascist wannabe president. Editorial, my part there. But Chicago is in the crosshairs, and so the reporting that you're doing is so crucial right now for those. Even though we don't live in Chicago, we're seeing the playbook happening, and we're also, as Jim was talking about the other day, there was a great piece of all of the resistance tactics that folks in Chicago have been doing, and solutions that you've been reporting on that organizations are doing that now folks in Charlotte and Minneapolis and Portland can be looking to, as all of us who happen to be living in blue cities are finding ourselves in the crosshairs as well. So
what's cool is there's a journalist organization in Charlotte that actually reached out to the Chicago Journalists Association, which gave me the award. And now they're connecting immigration reporters in Chicago with ones in Charlotte to share tips on how we did this. So really cool.
I feel like LA and Washington, D.C. really didn't respond the way I was hoping they were, but you guys you in Portland really did.
I mean, we ran Trump out of the city once. We can do it again.
Don't screw around with Chicago. All right, folks. Visit windycitytimes.com/newsletters. These are very slick, clean, lovely newsletters that come into your inbox every week, and crucial reporting and also reporting that just makes your day. So go to windycitytimes.com/newsletters, sign up there, join me in doing that. Jake, we'll see you back here in a couple weeks.
All right, I'll see you.
All right, folks, and thank you for listening and or watching today. If you're on YouTube, click that subscribe button, click like, leave us a comment. On WCPT 20, it's now time for Chew's Views with Richard Chew. On AM 950 Radio here in Minneapolis, it is time for the Matt McNeil Show. Stay tuned after that for Native Roots Radio, and then at 10 p.m. Central, step into the unknown with Greg Bakken on Ghost Box Radio. And until this time tomorrow, keep it queer, America.
Keep it queer, Chicago.